This show is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Getting America back on track. Bill Martinez live.
To get to, really appreciate your time. On this latest tweet, though, real quick, I want to just get your reaction. When Donald Trump says he's going to sit down to meet with the NRA to talk about keeping people who are on terror watch lists from buying guns, do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's very smart. I'm a pretty hawkish guy when it comes to defending the nation. If gun control could protect a nation from radical Islamic attack, there would be no Paris, there'd be no Brussels. So this idea that gun control will make it safe, I don't buy. But let's look at the issue of no-fly list and terrorist watch list. I really do believe most Americans feel that if you can't get on a plane because you're such a risk, you probably shouldn't have a gun. I think Mr. Trump is smart to see if we can sit down and find a way forward that will allow people to be denied a gun, but also the chance to say the government got it wrong when it came to me being a terrorist. I think that is the sweet spot. I would encourage Mr. Trump to stay on this path. I talked to Dianne Feinstein today. I think there's a way that we can protect the Second Amendment rights of people who've been wrongfully accused of being a terrorist, and at the same time make sure that people we don't want to have guns, that they don't get them at least through the legal process.
That's fascinating. And Dianne Feinstein, as you mentioned, she's pushing legislation, has been. I'll be very interested to see how those conversations go. An important note,
time will
though.
Tell.
Hey, what's more fascinating, are you starting to hear some party unity, maybe? I mean, Lindsey Graham saying Donald Trump and smart in the same sentence, Scott? What happened here? Did they have a kumbaya moment that we didn't hear about?
I don't know. My stance is still the same on this. Who's in charge of making the list? Who's in charge of maintaining the, monitoring the list, things like that. That's my big concern. Because again, with the IRS, they've proven that they're not afraid to use, elements of the government against their political opponents.
Right, exactly.
Ted Kennedy was on the no-fly list for a while. I mean, what are the stipulations that go into it? And those would be my concerns.
Well, again, lest we lose perspective and what the true objective is here, I mean, we're putting a lot of energy and getting distracted from the main problem that we have here. We have a radicalized Muslim swearing allegiance to every radical element of the Muslim religion, ISIS and Sunni. He just wanted to make sure he had everybody included, so rather conflicted individual. He goes off the reservation here and shoots up the Pulse nightclub, and we spend a lot of time, and it's almost like what I sense here is like, okay, well let's find can we find some bone, to throw at the Democrats? I mean, this is an election year. And then this way, all the politicians can go in and say, "Hey, we really did this." That 15-hour filibuster, and they can high five, and it's a whole lot to do about so little. But meanwhile, we still have terrorists running amok and domestically tearing things up here in this country, and we still are afraid to say and bring words together, because the president, boy, he really got on us and taught us what we need to do and how we need to conduct our language here, right?
Well, how many rights are you willing to give up to feel safe? I mean, the best proponent for your safety is yourself.
Well, that's the first. That truly is the first line. Yeah, exactly.
You see something out of normal, say something.
Yeah. Well, that's the saying, but in application and practice, you still have people, because the sentiment is, lest we forget, is let's not be an Islamophobe, and let's maintain the sensitivity here. this is the problem that we have right now. And then you say, hey, when is enough enough? I guess that's the question. This is Bill Martinez. We're live.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Bill Martinez Live, a program about current events, our culture, our values, our politics, and our future. And now, Bill Martinez.
We better stop. Hey, what's that style? Everybody look what's going. We better stop. Hey, what's that style? Everybody look what's going. We better stop.
Well, hello, America. Bill Martinez here with you 6 minutes after the top of the hour. For more information on the show, BillMartinezLive.com. That's where we want to go. And you want to be in the running for that Young Messiah DVD Blu-ray disc we're giving away. Make sure you drop me an email, Bill@BillMartinezLive.com. Just say, hey, Martinez, put me in the running. I want to be in the hopper. I want to have a shot at it. We've got plenty to give away. So, hey, if you want it, it's free, just for the asking. Bill@BillMartinezLive.com. Rudy Takala is with us. He's a watchdog reporter for the Washington Examiner. And, Rudy, thank you for coming on at the last minute like this. I appreciate your availability. You had to change your schedule all around. But what we need to talk about is most important. So welcome to Bill Martinez Live. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Really, you're reporting the FBI director, Comey, is unsure Orlando could have been prevented with legislation. Once again, we find ourselves looking at the reality of, government, of everything, trying to be the answer to too many things that it really, has a hard time, resolving.
Yeah, you're referring to the gun control legislation, correct?
Right, correct.
Yeah, he said that he isn't really sure that would have solved anything. So that doesn't really fit with the Democratic narrative, which they've been trying to push for the last day or so here.
Well, and here we are. We're going through all this. We've had a filibuster. You had somebody who acquired a gun. He was on he was on a security. He had a security job. Yes, in and out of FBI, scrutiny. On a list, not on the list, and he went through the process as it stands right now. But when you have the FBI director saying, look, this isn't a legislation issue. This is something else. So what is he saying?
What he said is that it wouldn't have made, much of a difference. Somebody who's on the watch list who wants to purchase a firearm does that, and an alert is already sent to the FBI. So that information is already available to them. When you're talking about, really, if you're talking about anybody who's been flagged by the federal government, Hillary Clinton has also been flagged with an FBI investigation.
Exactly.
But she can still purchase firearms. So you're talking about a whole broad range of people who may or may not be on a list, may or may not belong on that list. Mm-hmm. So it would not have affected the situation.
Exactly. Well, Rudy, I had misspoke. What you had written about was the GOP lawmakers. They now feel reinvigorated, and they want to renew this push for a Clinton independent counsel. What did you find there?
Speaking of the FBI director and that investigation into Clinton, you have GOP lawmakers led by Bill Posey of Florida making this push to get the Justice Department to appoint a special counsel in the Clinton investigation. They're saying that the administration can't be impartial, especially given now that President Obama has endorsed Clinton, that there can't be an impartial investigation. Funny thing, if that happened, it would be the second time that Clinton has come under investigation by a special counsel. The first one, obviously, being Ken Starr. It was appointed, I think, in 1993. Eventually, that led to the uncovering of the entire Monica Lewinsky scandal. So you can have a lot of fun when a special counsel is investigated or is appointed, and that's what GOP lawmakers are pushing for.
Well, do you think A.G. Lynch is going to do that? I mean, she seems to be kind of silently offering cover here.
It does seem pretty unlikely. And technically, the president is not supposed to get involved with an ongoing investigation one way or the other, either to help somebody or to say that they shouldn't be investigated. So you are supposed to have that division or separation of powers, but we'll have to see what happens there. Even in the event that A.G. Lynch would not be impartial, you still have Director Comey, who can make his recommendation on whether to indict or not. And it's going to look pretty bad if they make a recommendation and then the AG refuses to pursue that. So either way, I think you're going to have a situation that isn't particularly good for Clinton if she has engaged in wrongdoing. I think that's going to cause complications with or without the special counsel.
Well, the FBI has been doing their due diligence. They've got over 100 investigators looking into this. The fact that they've, given some exonerations in order to get some testimony here is quite telling. So there's got to be something there. Everybody that talks about James Comey talks about him, being upright and very nonpartisan. But yet you have the president, as you say, Rudy, is not supposed to get involved, but he's found a way. I mean, he's made statements on national television indicating that, there's not a problem. There's not going to be anything found here that, there's nothing there. And for the president to interject himself in a soft but yet notable way, is telltaling in much the same way that he did with the Supreme Court. He didn't tell the Supreme Court in specific words what to do, but he let them know. He put them on notice. He kind of sent a shell over the bow of their boat, and then what did they do? They supported the president.
That's completely true. You do see, he's commenting on it as he has does not give the appearance of impartiality or justice being served. So that definitely doesn't help. And something else that's interesting is what if Clinton is elected president? The FBI is conducting two investigations, really, one into the misuse of mishandling of classified information, the second being into the Clinton Foundation and charges related to public corruption there. That investigation related to the foundation is almost certainly not going to be over before 2017, which means Clinton could be president at the same time that her Justice Department is still investigating the issue. So if you want to talk about the conflict of interest, that situation could definitely get worse. And you'd think that Clinton almost would need to, there would almost need to be a special prosecutor involved at that point to take care of the issue and whatever remains.
And, of course, we're not even talking about Benghazi either. I mean, potentially you could have somebody elected president. You talk about dragging baggage up to Pennsylvania Avenue for taking the oath of office. I mean, this is, it's ridiculous when you think about it. I mean, here you are.
Speaking of baggage, at least she doesn't need to move it to Washington. She's already got it here, so.
Exactly.
Won't need moving trucks.
Right, exactly. But, man, I'm telling you, here it is. We're electing a new CEO, a commander-in-chief, and this is pretty crazy that the country has found itself in this position right now with two candidates that most of the country is not very favorable. Her trust level, numbers, her polling is all questionable. But, of course, we'll continue to hear more about this. Rudy Takala from the Washington Examiner. Rudy, thank you so much for coming on with us and bringing us up to date on all these issues. This is Bill Martinez Live. We've got more to talk about. Thank you so much for being with us. Great to have you along with us. It's just about 15 minutes after the top of the hour. Stay right where you are.
June is Men's Health Month, and while men may consider their weight and cholesterol this month, most men aren't aware of the attention they should also give to their bones. Osteoporosis is a lifelong disease that weakens bones over time. This makes bones more likely to break and could even lead to loss of height. Although people often associate osteoporosis with women, this disease also poses a significant health risk to millions of American men. In fact, 1 out of every 4 men over the age of 50 will experience a broken bone due to osteoporosis in their lives, greater than their likelihood of developing prostate cancer. A broken bone from osteoporosis can have a serious impact, making it difficult to get around and do things on your own. What's more, osteoporosis may not be seen or felt and can therefore go undetected until a bone breaks. It's important to understand your risk for osteoporosis and ways to manage the disease. Don't wait. Be proactive and start this conversation with your doctor today. This report is brought to you by Amgen.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9634. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-939-9634. That's 1-800-939-9634.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
You've reached Bill Martinez Live.
I love the East. I love the West. North and South, they're both the best. But I only love to go there as a guest. And I love being here with you. I love the sea. I love the shore. I love the rocks. And what is more with you, let it never be a bore. Because I love being here with you.
Bill Martinez Live.
Hey, just the way you like me, fresh every day, live, 9 to noon Eastern Time. And it'd be 9 to noon. Did I say 9 to noon? Exactly. 6 to 9 Pacific. Good to have you along with us. This is Bill Martinez coming at you. We've got Sergeant Sangari with us. Always good to be talking with Sergeant. Sergeant is a retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel. And, of course, you just had a big anniversary, didn't you? The Army just celebrated their big anniversary here this week.
We did, Bill. We did. A lot of sacrifice that way, a lot of hard work. So hopefully we can keep the nation safe for another 100 years.
Exactly. Well, it's up to we the people, and we got to keep the pressure on, even though there's been a lot, as you're very well aware, Sergeant, that, our military is at record lows, probably not since before World War II. And we need to, be serious about this. I think, what was debated on the Senate floor here the other day, I believe it was John McCain who said, look, if you're not going to pass these bills to support the military, then don't go around and say that you're a friend of the military, right?
Bill, that's correct. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of individuals don't understand how the multi-budget works. We're very much of a targeted nation. This whole Iranian issue that we had talked about and why we shouldn't allow Iran to get their hands on a nuclear weapon. Right now, if you explode a nuclear weapon 300 miles above the United States, and there's a possibility, there's delivery methods that allow that to happen, especially with North Korea sending their satellite over us during the Super Bowl, you could literally fry everything that has a chip in it. That being the case, since we don't manufacture anything, currently, if you take a look at it, for us just to replace one transformer in this country, it takes us 18 months to get it shipped out from China. Imagine if you have 4 or 5 of those burned out. It would take us approximately 2 years to go back to where we were on the baseline if that ever happened. So this country is vulnerable. And if you reduce its military in those 2 years, if something like that happens, then it's possible that it could be invaded. And if everybody thinks that that's not a possibility, then you have to really think about whether or not you understand security across the globe.
Exactly. And when you think that, the president's job one is to protect and support national security, that's his number one function. And he's been doing just the opposite. I mean, it's quite revealing here, Sargis, that, Democrats always want to cut back on military. I mean, Bill Clinton did it. And, we look back on those, supposed glory days and say, oh, the economy was doing so great and we had all this positive cash flow coming out of the government and everything, but at what expense? Because then, a couple of years later, out of office, we get attacked and we're sending our men and women, overseas to go fight a war under-equipped. And are we setting ourselves up for this one more time?
It's not just that. They don't just cut it, but they also share the technology. When Bill Clinton was in office, I was still serving. That was the first time that the Chinese were able to develop the capability of conducting airfield seizures, same type of operations that our U.S. Rangers do. Why? Because we loaded up both full of technology under Bill Clinton and we sent it out to China. So literally, our politicians don't just cut the military, they share our equipment with our enemies, and then they wonder why we're in the position that we are today.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of all that? I mean, what was the victory, for the country to share, that proprietary information with the Chinese? Who won out of that deal?
They live in a world that they think that our enemies are going to be able to convert their mindset and become our friends if we share these type of technologies with them. The reality is that your enemy is your enemy. Eventually, you may have to one day go down there and you have to shoot these individuals.
Yes.
That's just the way you need to think about it, but they don't.
Well, I don't even think it's even, I mean, you put it very nicely that somehow in their mind they think they're going to make friends out of these people. I think there's something more diabolical in that. I think there's some quid pro quo. There's something going on that says, and it's no surprise with all that we've been hearing, about the Clintons, that they have leveraged their position in office in order to ingratiate themselves and to come away with more money. And if you think not, we've got a movie on the heels of last year's revelation in Peter Schweizer's book called Clinton Cash. That movie is going to be coming out next month that I think is going to really rock people's world. I say that. I thought 13 Hours with Benghazi was going to do that, but it kind of, came and went by the wayside. I don't know if our country is just not prepared. And, like Jack Nicholson said in that movie, you can't handle the truth. Maybe our country is just at that point, Sargis, where it just cannot handle the truth.
They're trying to avoid the truth, and be honest, Bill. They come from a different mental mind map. I grew up in Iran. I saw the revolution. I saw what it did to people. We did go times hungry, so we understand what hunger feels like. When you grow up in a society where you haven't really felt that hunger, you haven't seen the devastation, the reality is that some of these politicians will never get it unless you put them in a position where either their friends are getting killed, like my friends were in the Army, they're being burned, like my friends were burned in the Army, for them to get a taste in the reality of what the enemy is and who he is. Unfortunately, our individuals that we have that are chosen leaders and the public that elects them really have not faced the realities of war. And it's very cruel, it's really ugly, and it does devastate families. And this war, whether they like it or not, the enemy has chosen to bring it to you.
Yes.
And he will kill more than 50 individuals out of Orlando. Until our people wake up, and unfortunately I've seen it with societies before, Bill, our societies never wake up to it unless it's personal to them. So
exactly.
You literally have to kill somebody in their family to make it personal for them to figure it out.
Well, Sargis, you're right that it's time to kick Erdogan's Turkey out of NATO. A quote here says, once ISIS falls, more documents will be revealed detailing the relationship between ISIS and Turkey, no different than what was revealed with the death of Abu Sayyaf, where it was revealed that Turkey was buying stolen oil from ISIS for $1 a barrel, in turn selling it to Europe for $20 a barrel. What is happening here?
Well, same thing we just discussed earlier in our conversation. The reality is that politicians are driven by greed and money. Mm-hmm. And what happens in this case, Europe was getting bang for its buck, cheap oil, so they could care less. And then what happened, once we started taking out some of the targeted support that Erdogan was getting as far as these financial dealings were concerned, suddenly Erdogan decided to open up the borders and allow the refugees to flood Europe. And finally, it took a long time for Germany to realize that they're literally being invaded by these ISIS operatives. That's the reason, and the only reason they recently came out of the German parliament and recognized the Armenian genocide of 1950, not because they cared about the Armenians. They did it in order to show Erdogan that he should not belong to the EU. At the same time, unfortunately, Erdogan was here on July 9 trying to attend the Muhammad Ali's funeral. When he came in here, his intent was that he was going to lead the procession. He was going to put the cloth over the casket of Muhammad Ali, and that his imam was going to open up the prayer. It took Muhammad Ali's family to say no to him. He was so angered that he went back that same day. Imagine that they were able to make a stronger stand than even our political leaders are, because I can not believe, or I probably will not be able to imagine that our president would have told Erdogan the same thing that Muhammad Ali's family told him, which is no.
Interesting, without a doubt. Sargis Sangari has been with us. Sargis, real quick, I want to give you an opportunity to direct our people to help you out and with your fundraising. Tell them where they can go for more information.
Well, they could go to UnitedAssyrianAppeal.org. It's better for us to receive checks. PayPal has been a really bad partner for us. We're looking at changing it recently, but that's the best way to help. And then they could go to the Near East Center.
Brought to you by Bank of America, working with home design and DIY experts Ben and Aaron Napier. Natural light is the best way to wake up any room in the house. If you're redecorating this summer, refresh a dark room with these tips.
Y'all don't have to burn your budget to bring that sunny, summery feeling into every corner of your home. One trick we use to open up a space is to hang mirrors across from the south and west-facing windows where the light is strongest for the best reflection. You can even attach one to the back of an old window frame to create the look of an extra window.
You'll be surprised at how much bigger and brighter the room feels. For our DIY purchases, we like to use our Bank of America card Cash Rewards credit card to earn 1% cash back on every purchase. And when we shop at wholesale clubs, we earn 2% cash back for the first $2,500 in combined grocery, wholesale club, and gas purchases each quarter, which helps our renovation budget go even further.
For more information, visit bankofamerica.com/getcashback. bankofamerica.com/getcashback.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507.
This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
You're listening to Bill Martinez Live.
All my dreams. A little head bobbing music, huh? I mean, you know, you hear this music and your head just keeps bobbing the entire day. Why not? Just for fun. Hey, it's Bill Martinez. We're live at 28 minutes before the top of the hour. Carrie Severino is with us right now, Chief Counsel, Policy Director of the Judicial Crisis Network. In that capacity, she's testified before Congress on assorted constitutional issues and briefed senators on judicial nominations. Mrs. Severino has been extensively quoted in the media, regularly appeared on TV, including MSNBC, Fox, CNN, all over the place, written and spoken on a wide range of judicial issues, particularly the constitutional limits on government, the federal nomination process, and the state judicial selection. Carrie is also noted for being a clerk for Justice Clarence Thomas and been very vocal about the direction of judicial philosophy in America. And Carrie, you and I could be spending the entire day on judicial philosophy, okay?
Yeah, that's so true. There's lots.
Well, we've got a couple of cases that we should be hearing about very shortly that I wanted you to address with our audience. Two controversial Supreme Court decisions expected to be announced next month. And court watchers are intent on seeing what is going to happen with immigration and abortion. Explain to our audience, if you would.
Yeah, we are almost at the end of the Supreme Court term. I think the 27th is the last day, and there's still these two huge cases outstanding. Both of them come out of Texas. Well, the abortion case has to do with health regulations the state of Texas did to raise the health standards at abortion clinics so that they met the standards of other outpatient surgical centers, and that women were really getting safe abortions in the state. And then also another provision that said that doctors performing abortions had to have admitting privileges because, unfortunately, there are complications. Sometimes they want to make sure that they can get those women into a hospital quickly and efficiently. And they're being challenged by a group ironically named Whole Women's Health. They're against, they're for actually their abortion clinic business, but they're arguing a little bit against women's health here in this case. And so that's a good question. Looks like it might be a 4-4 split at the court, as well as the immigration case, which also is Texas challenging this president's executive action on immigration. That's the one that basically gives millions of illegal immigrants a pass and says they have lawful status to be here, entitles them to Social Security benefits, earned income tax credits, a host of other benefits, and Texas is challenging that because it's simply not constitutional for the president to try to change the immigration law. That's something we have to do with Congress. You know, if the president, I think, missed that episode of Schoolhouse Rock, but it's the Congress that passes the law and the president that signs it. But, you know, what can constitutional law professors know about these things?
Yeah, exactly. Why should we let the law get in the way of your own personal desires, those very things that he said he wouldn't do are the very things he's doing, right?
Yeah, and in fact, in that case, he specifically said he couldn't do that. I mean, people were complaining. He actually was getting a lot of flack from some communities because he has had more deportations than almost any other president. And so he was saying, look, I can't change the law. I'm not a king. And it turns out, you know, I guess he consulted his lawyers, and turns out he is a king.
It's good to be king. It's good to be king.
Well, you know.
Yeah. Is this a bit of sleight of hand, though, a little bit here, Kerry? Because on one hand, he says he can. On the other hand, you know, don't look what the right hand is doing here. He's, you know, taking the lock off the door. And, you know, we're dealing with the immigration issue and then here yesterday, we hear that he's ramped up the refugee import here.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately, there are some of those things that he can legitimately do as president. But in the case of this immigration action, I mean, it's one thing saying, okay, we're going to put different prioritization on who we're deporting first. I think the extent that he's done that is you know, means that eventually, if you haven't committed a crime, you're never going to, apart from, of course, breaking the immigration laws. He's just saying we're not allowed to do anything with these people. So that's a problem. But the biggest issue is he essentially is giving them a license to continue to be here lawfully when they're in fact not here lawfully. You know, it's one thing if a cop doesn't give you a ticket when he pulls you over and you were going over the speed limit, but he can't then give you a card that says you don't need to comply with the speed limit henceforth. That is a different thing, and that's what the president's trying to do here. So he talks about it saying, well, I have this enforcement discretion, and that's true. He does. He doesn't have to, you know, just like the cop can say, you know, I'm going to let you off this time, but he doesn't have a right to give you a pass, you know, going forward, exemption from the law.
Yeah, all of a sudden you get additional rights and privileges. I mean, even more so than the citizens.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And when you think of the amount of money in the Social Security things, earned income tax credits, these people you could be getting paid by the government. I mean, it's millions of dollars we're talking about, and that's a real problem. This is you know, we're in a financial crisis right now. We cannot afford to pay all of the debts the country has already. You know, I'm not counting on Social Security being available for me, and now we're talking about starting to pay out to people who actually aren't even here legally. I think it's wonderful. I mean, my husband's family are immigrants from Colombia. We want to have immigrants, but we have to have people who are obeying the law, and to just hand out money, you know, to people that aren't even legally allowed to be here. That's not something that our system is even capable of doing. You know, and it's certainly not constitutional for the president to unilaterally do that.
Well, you know, you speak of immigrants and your family, your husband's family, you know, with under the old days and maybe still a little bit today, if you come in through the proper channels as an immigrant and you apply, you know, for citizenship and you go through the process, but before even you come, you have to demonstrate that you are not going to be beholden to the government, that you're not going to be a burden to the government. You have to demonstrate that you've got somebody who's going to sponsor you and make sure that you're not coming in on the dole. But, you know, with this president, somehow he sees some sort of exemption, and we're absolutely, you know, pulverizing the system.
Yeah, and the scariest thing is, you know, we can argue about the policy of how many people should be let in, or should we not be, you know, have kind of open borders, closed borders. But those are things for our representatives to decide. They need to represent the American people, and that's why Congress is the one that's supposed to make those laws. It's not just one person who, because of an election, you know, now 3.5 years ago, can do whatever he wants. There's still a constitutional system, and when you have the representatives from across the country coming up with these rules, they're going to probably be able to have a better compromise so that it's addressing everyone's concerns, rather than this president who just wants to say, full steam ahead. I'm doing it how I want. And if he doesn't get Congress to just go with him on every single thing he wants, he just says, oh, fine, I'll use my pen and phone. But, that's not what the Constitution says. And that's what I hope the Supreme Court stands up for.
Well, amen to that, because like you, Carrie, I believe in the Constitution. I've seen it historically, time and again. When we are faithful to the Constitution, it goes well with us. When we abandon it, then we get all kinds of issues and complications. And this is what, policies over the years, not just with this president, but this president, no doubt, has taken it to a whole new level, and complicated the whole immigration system. And they will be the first to admit that it's broken. Well, if it's broken, what are you doing about it?
Right. And what he's doing about it is now just trying another power play. And the scary thing is we've got 4 justices in the Supreme Court who, from the looks of the oral arguments last month, and I was there, it seems like they're willing to go along with it. They're willing to just let the president go ahead with whatever he wants. And that's frightening, because that's for the branch that's supposed to be the check, that's supposed to be making sure everyone does abide by the Constitution. And if you don't have judges that are willing to stand up when an executive tries to do a power grab like that, we need to really be worried. Right now, we only have 8 judges on the court because Justice Scalia is passing, and that 9th justice is the one who would be the tiebreaker in cases like this. The president's nominee, surprise, surprise, is someone who actually has a very long history of deferring to whatever the executive wants to do, and I think that's exactly what he would love to see, someone who's just going to go along with his executive power grabs. I think that would be the worst possible result for the country.
Well, it's been a short couple of months since the passing of Justice Scalia, and we miss him terribly, no doubt, and hopefully we can find another Scalia to help balance and be a reasonable force in the Supreme Court on behalf of we the people and those that believe in the Constitution. Regarding the abortion issue, Carrie, most amazing, the reason this came up is that we had women that were dying in clinics because they just didn't have the proper care. And I don't know how any other group doesn't get behind and support what I believe is reasonable.
It's also interesting to note, you see this is being challenged by Whole Women's Health, but Planned Parenthood of Texas hasn't gotten on board. You know why? Most of their clinics actually, they have the ones that do meet these standards. So
exactly.
I think everyone can agree we should have higher standards for women's
Exactly.
health.
Carrie Severino on Bill Martinez. Ever wonder why the medical system prescribes ingredients used in killing small rodents to thin blood? I look at some people on this stuff and they're more bruised than a boxer in the 12th round of a 10-round fight. Careful with green vegetables. They must know best. Well, here at Bill Martinez Live, we support the structure function of blood with EFA Plus. Find us at BillMartinezLive.com Longevity or call 855-305-8326. That number again, 855-305-8326.
Did you know there's an approved healthcare choice just for Christians that's founded on the timeless principles in God's Word? It's not insurance. It's Medishare. Over 189,000 believers across America who love God and share each other's healthcare bills. It's about half the cost of health insurance, and you never pay for medical practices that go against your Christian beliefs. Best of all, the healthcare law includes a special provision for Medishare members, so you don't have to buy insurance or face penalties. Medishare is affordable healthcare without compromise.
Learn how thousands of Christians can help you save on your health care. For your free information guide, call 855-BIBLE-11. Not available in Montana. Medishare, affordable biblical health care. Call 855-BIBLE-11. That's 855-BIBLE-11.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
This is an alert. If your business or church is building this year, you're about to pay more than you should. This could mean thousands of dollars more for your office, retail space, church, or warehouse. A General Steel building can save you as much as half the cost and time of similar conventional construction. And we're offering rebates of up to $20,000 to help you build today. Call General Steel for free information that could save you thousands. Call 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL. 866-91-STEEL.
Hi, this is Ron Paul. I'm a former 22-year congressman and Republican presidential candidate. I'm here to tell you about something that just might save your lives. You never know when there will be another Katrina, an economic collapse, or a serious drought. We should all have a little food storage that will carry us through tough times. I'm going to tell you about a great way to do that. A U.S. company named Harvest Right has a kitchen appliance that can help you be prepared. It's a home freeze dryer. With the product, you can preserve the food your family loves. And the best part is the food will last 25 years and still taste great. I've tried it, and it's amazing. With a home freeze dryer from Harvest Right, you can literally freeze dry anything you eat, even things like ice cream. To learn more, call Harvest Right today at 800-594-4635 or go to harvestright.com. That's 800-594-4635 or harvestright.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
You've reached Bill Martinez Live.
Welcome back, America. Bill Martinez here, 14 minutes before the top of the hour. It's always great to have you along with us. And with us right now is Reverend Gordon Dalby. Pastor Dalby has a phenomenal ministry targeted to men, and we'll explain that in just a moment, but I want to give you a little bit of a background. He holds a master's in divinity from Harvard, an M.A. in journalism from Stanford, a bachelor's in mathematics from Duke. I mean, what a spread here from theology to journalism to mathematics. I mean, are you a Renaissance man here, Pastor?
Well, let's just say it took me a little longer to find my calling. How about that?
Hey, that's okay. But, of course, your series, Healing the Masculine Soul, pioneered the Christian men's movement back in 1988, and it's still a bestseller today. It is a message that continues to resonate. Why do you think that?
Well, I go for the root wounds. You know, they always say that you teach best what you need to learn most. Back when I was a young man myself, I noticed with all my friends, we all had sort of the same problems. We had a hard time focusing our lives where our gifts and talents and abilities might take us. We're not very good at relating to women and extended relationships, and not very confident in ourselves as men. As I began to chat with all of us, we discovered a thread that we all had. All of us, our fathers, were all Depression-era boys and World War II-era young men. And that history did not really honor men's hearts. And so our dads really never had a chance to experience their hearts in a way that shall we say, hopefully a normal history would allow. So we grew up basically, I just a couple months ago I was ministering in Southern California. I had 300 Christian men at a breakfast. I said, how many of you did your dad talk to you about girls and sex when you became of age, 6th or 7th grade? 2 hands out of 300 went up. I was teaching at another church, well recognized in the country, but no need to mention it. 350 Christian fathers at a fathers conference. I said, out of you 350, how many of you, when you became a dad for the first time, did your father give you a phone call, write you a letter, email you, anything to give you some support, comfort, encouragement, or advice? Out of 350 Christian men, fathers, only 5 raised their hand and said, yes, my dad helped me out in that awesome, terrifying business of becoming a dad. And I knew that I was onto something very powerful. It's an epidemic worldwide. I've been from South Africa to Hong Kong to France. I have a French translation of the book. It's an epidemic worldwide. It's the elephant in the world's living room. Nobody wants to deal with it because for a boy, dad confirms manhood.
Yes.
And if it doesn't have a father, then he doesn't feel like a man. He hasn't got the stuff of manhood because dad never gave it to him. So he grows up in a culture and a world which is fabricating, which is the media is delighted to fill him with, big trucks and cigars and drugs and women and sex and everything, but the real manhood which comes from the father's blessing.
Exactly. Well, and your book addresses authentic manhood that most men, and I would agree with you, men I speak with, are just like sponges when they come in contact with it because it goes to the depths of their soul, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when you're touching at that level, I'm at this stage of my life. I mean, people say, Gordon, you got a definition of a real man? And I say, actually, I do. And you'll see it on my website, abbafather.com homepage. A real man is a man who's real. It's very simple, but it's not easy to be real. That is to say, to open your heart up and really talk about what's broken and needs healing in you if you haven't had a father to cover you and to cover that shame, see, because we live in a culture where to be real, I mean, you gotta be safe because the world will crucify you. You start talking about your hurts and wounds and needs, especially men. And to a man, a wound feels shameful.
Right.
But the fact, because that's where the enemy of God has snookered all of us. We're blackmailed by shame. We're all in our own little corners, pretending we're okay, letting the world sell us billions of dollars, these false things from pornography, whatever. And meanwhile, the Father from whom all fatherhood in heaven and on earth receives his true name, whose name is Father God revealed in Jesus, has come in Jesus to pour out his Spirit, who says, the Spirit God has given does not make you a slave and cause you to be afraid. Romans 8:14-16. Rather, the Spirit God has given you is one of sonship, daughtership, who enables you to cry out, Abba, Father, with confidence that my daddy hears my cry, and with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, he comes on wings of an eagle. That's my daughter calling. That's my son calling. Out of the way. Nothing is more important to me than answering the cry of my son or my daughter. But sadly, for a generation who've been raised, who did cry out for fathers, and two-thirds of the families today, the divorce that's been so epidemic in our culture, and over 40% of boys today are not being raised in the family where their blood father is. So they cry out for father, and nobody comes. And so they learn to stuff it. And when, say, walk into a church which says, oh, welcome, let's pray to Father God. Whoa! Been there, done that one, baby. No. Let's talk about God. How about a nice generic God, but not Father God? Because anybody called Father, I can't trust that.
Exactly.
And that's where the enemy of God has really distorted the image of Father God, and that's where Jesus comes in.
Well, in this new series that you're doing that was hearkened to you in prayer, with the idea of give me a library, healing men by revealing God as our Father was one of the first topics that you addressed. Healing the masculine soul, sons of the Father, healing the father wound in men today. It is very profound. That in itself will preach for many weeks.
Oh, well, the wound is so deep, and I might say it's also very deep for women, terribly deep for women. I see a father confirms gender identity. The father has the XY chromosome. I'm not an expert on this, but I know this much, that every male and female, we have chromosomes in every one of our cells. The male is identified as XY. He has the difference. The female chromosome has XX. So she doesn't have the difference. So the XY is what determines the gender of the child biologically. But it's also true emotionally and spiritually. The father confirms masculinity in the boy. And I see it when I pat my son on the shoulder. He comes back from pumping iron. Wow, what a strong guy. You just see him light up. But also a girl. I asked Mary about that, and she said, yes, as the father confirms femininity in the girl. Exactly. The mother can say you're a beautiful little girl, and that's nice and helpful. But she's waiting. She's waiting for the father to say, oh, what a beautiful, not just beautiful, but competent woman you are. When she hears her father say that, Mary's a psychologist, PhD. So
this is wife Mary.
My wife Mary.
Yes.
And so she knows women inside and out. I'm not an expert on women. Please don't get me. I'm not that. Anyway, any man who says that is either a liar or a fool. But I listen to Mary, and she says, "Oh, a little girl looks to her daddy to say, am I a beautiful, competent woman in my femininity?" And sadly, most women have not gotten that, so they feel very insecure in their femininity, which means for a girl growing up, when she hits puberty and attraction, she's not getting the masculine attention she needs and wants, and God is set up to give her from her father. So where is she going to get masculine attention? It's not that hard. You don't have to be a rocket
scientist. In all the wrong places.
Just lift your skirt up a little bit, unbutton a blouse here and there, and you got masculine attention. It does not give a hoot about your character and your heart. And I talk to dads with daughters about that, and I have some of that in my book, Do Pirates Wear Pajamas? And Other Mysteries in the Adventure of Fathering. But women are also suffering from a tremendous father wound, and the enemy's taking advantage of that too.
What a key role fathers have in families today, and empirically you look at the evidence of, as you say, single-family homes where a father is not evident, and many of our kids are suffering as a result of that, aren't they?
Yes, and I have a chapter. I deliberately included a chapter at the end of Do Pirates Wear Pajamas for single dads. Because single dads, any single dads listening, you're not out of the picture at all. You're front and center in your son or your daughter's heart. And you got to accept that. You got to accept that. And I have that chapter, especially for single dads, because it just, don't get overwhelmed by shame. Okay, we live in a broken world. You made your mistakes. We all make our mistakes. But God has come in Jesus to redeem our mistakes.
Amen.
And if you go to Him and cry out to Him, He will give you what you need to be the father that your son or daughter needs.
Well, there's so many topics here, Gordon, that you've addressed, facing the reality of spiritual warfare and His power to win it, restoring His divided church, confronting the spirit of religion and His victory over it in Jesus Christ, and confessing the spiritual essence of sexual desire and trusting Him to fulfill it. I mean, this is an incredible series, and of course, you're going to be in Southern California at my home church in Southern California. When I'm there, I'm talking to you from Florida, from the East Coast. But when I'm in Southern California, then I'm there with Pastor Phil Hotzenpiller and the rest of the family there at Influence Church. And you get to be there on Father's Day. And what a treat for everybody to be there for both services, 9 and at 10:40. And then you get a barbecue. Pastor Phil's going to do a barbecue for you on Monday. How fun is that?
How about it? Feed me and I'll follow you anywhere. Let's do it.
Hey, why not? Well, I know you'll have a great time. The men will be blessed. The congregation is going to be blessed for all that you've got to share with them. Thank you so much for coming on Bill Martinez Live and sharing your thoughts. And where can they go for more information, Gordon?
Well, www.abbafather.com. AbbaFather.com has my website. I have all my books on paperback. I'm happening now. You can get e-books online. I've got MP3s. How about that? Of all my teachings, Mary's teachings for women. It's all there on AbbaFather.com. Podcast, the works.
You got it. Gordon Dalby on Bill Martinez Live. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it.
My dad was 59 when he collapsed from a heart attack late last year. Just this past August was when we spread his ashes on the St. Croix River. I loved my dad, but boy was he stubborn. He hadn't been to the doctor in over 25 years. His excuse? He simply couldn't afford it. He wasn't a rich man by any means. At less than $107 per month, LibertyOnCall.org would have been the perfect alternative for my father. Don't wait. Go to LibertyOnCall.org right now, for not just your sake, but for the sake of your loved ones. Again, that's LibertyOnCall.org.
We all have heard about the benefits of fish oils, but what about the presence of heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, furans, and other contaminants found in fatty tissues of fish? GCNteam.com recognizes this risk and offers IFOS certified tested omega-3 fatty acids. EPA, DHA insists on IFOS omega-3 fatty acid certification. Get the best at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203.